Greetings and salutations, YouTubers. This is ZillaFan85, and I, of course, represent YouTube's bargain basement of the airwaves. I'm back today with my latest video, my latest figure review. Today we're going to go ahead and take a look at my MonsterArts Godzilla Junior figure. So, this is, the initial release of this figure, this version of it, I should say. Was definitely happy to have added it into my collection. I know that this guy has gone quite up in the market, in the aftermarket price, but, obviously we'll cover all that as we go along here. This version of, the Son of Godzilla, if you will, appeared in the 1995 film, Godzilla vs. Destoroyah. He is, bar none, my favorite incarnation of, Little Godzilla, Son of Godzilla, whatever you want to consider it. Absolutely, I've always enjoyed the design here. I love how it's, you can still, he's still like a child or adolescent, but he's taking on now more of Godzilla's features, etc., etc. So definitely was happy to have gotten a hold of this guy in my collection. So let's take a look at this little bugger. Starting off with the paint and the detail work here. So you can see, just like with Little Godzilla, this his paint scheme done like this deep green, like a foresty green, and there's definitely some different shading of green throughout and some black wash throughout as well. It's a little dusty. I tried to dust it off as best as I can, but hard to get it perfect. But nonetheless, though, bringing it in closer here, you can see the face. Very nice detail work here. Again, the foresty green with some black wash and little lighter shadings of green as well done throughout. The eyes, if I can depict them well enough on camera here. Difficult to depict. Let's see if I can bring it in closer for you guys. Trying to get the camera to focus, but you can see the eyes done in like this orangey, like this fiery orange paint scheme with the black dots for the pupils. So very, very nicely detailed there. You can see on the other side as well. Here, very, very nicely done. Got the little ears on each side there, sculpted in. Again, captured that look very well. You got the rivets on the top of the head here, pronounced eyebrows there, the nostrils and some wrinkles and scales done for the face there. We've got the mouth with some like creamish bone color done for the teeth, as you guys can see here if the camera wants to stay in focus, and like a deep red for the roof of the mouth and for the tongue here. Again, if we can get the camera to focus there for us here. So very, very nicely done, nicely detailed for, a figure that's on the smaller side, I should say here. But then as you go down into the neck and shoulders, again, more of the scales and whatnot. They are, again, all done, like I said, in this foresty green with some lighter shadings in green and some black wash done throughout. So pretty much standard fare for this Godzilla's paint scheme here, Godzilla Junior. You got the lines and segments on the front part of the neck there. Trademark of like Godzilla, his father or adopted father, whatever you want to consider him, has the same design patterning, same skin patterning there. Very, very cool. Again, more of the scales. Got the pronounced chest here, and then more of the scales and whatnot, and the lines done throughout the chest to give it that pronounced feature there. Very, very cool. Nice musculature as well. And of course, you got that indented kind of abdomen, which is signature to his design. But again, more of the scaling done throughout as well, on the sides here as well. And of course, as you come into the shoulders and the arms, more of the scales done throughout, the Godzilla scales all the way up. You got his hands here, with the claws, just pretty similar to the teeth, like this sort of creamish, maybe even a little bit of like a grayish color though too, like a cream bone color, or like maybe even like an off-white bone color for the finger claws there, as you guys can see, and some detail work nicely captured on the inside of the palms there and on the back of the hands. So for a smaller figure, they really didn't skimp on detail, just like with Little Godzilla, really. So, and then as we go down into the legs, again, more of the scaly pattern, Godzilla scales done throughout the legs there. You got the kneecaps, you got some musculature done for the legs as well here. Again, all in that foresty green with some lighter green and some black wash. As you go down into his feet there, again, you can see the detail work captured for the feet. And again, just like with the finger claws, like that sort of off-white bone color, if you will. They're pretty sharp to the touch, so nicely captured there. Detail work on the bottom part of the feet as well. As you guys can see, some wrinkles and folds here. Nice patterning there. And then, of course, as you go down into the tail, again, the foresty green with a little bit of lighter green throughout and some black wash. Again, like I said, pretty much throughout the whole figure captured like that. Also, you got the signature segmentations done throughout the tail. Really, really nicely captured here, as you guys can see, all the way down on the top part of the tail and, of course, on the bottom side of the tail as well. You got all the, again, more like the lines and wrinkles and whatnot done throughout. Captured very, very nicely, folks. Then, of course, as you run along his back from the top part of his neck down throughout his back and down up pretty much to the tip of his tail there, you got the dorsal spines, just like Papa Godzilla, the 3 rows of the dorsal spines. Of course, for Godzilla Junior, they're much smaller than Godzilla's, but you can now see where they're really taking on the shape of Godzilla's dorsal spines. Just again, just not nearly as big, but you got the 3 pronounced rows there along the back, and of course the smaller ones all throughout the neck, and again as they kind of taper off down the tail. But these done just like with Godzilla, done in like a smoky gray kind of color, but you do have a little bit of the skin tone captured in it as well. You can see a little bit of it there. So, but very largely done in, like I said, like that smoky gray, but you got some nice detail captured throughout here. Yeah, you can see some gaps in the figure. That is kind of a issue with this figure to some degree, but you can do some things to be able to hide it. But we'll get into that in a moment. So, anyways, and you can see as the dorsal spines, the dorsal plates taper off down towards the tip of the tail, but you do still see some paint done throughout, so they really didn't skimp too much there. And that pretty much covers it for Godzilla Junior's paint and detail work here, folks. So bring it out a little bit here, and let's go ahead and jump on into the articulation on this guy. So again, it's an SH MonsterArts figure, so mostly a collection of ball joints done for all the articulation points. So you got the head here, where the back of the head and where it joins into the neck. You got a ball joint there, so you can look up like that. You can look down like that. Turn side to side. A little bit of you can rotate it, and then of course you can turn side to side. And of course, you want to rotate it, you can get it to go all the way around if you want it to. So you got that. You got the jaw, which is on a ball joint. That's why it moves around like that. Again, I always feel like it's better to just do hinges for jaws, but is what it is. So, but of course you can open it and close it like that. So as you guys can see there. Then you got another ball joint here at the sort of midsection of the neck. So you can add to that range of motion there. Look up, look down like that. Of course, you can turn side to side. Of course, you can rotate, and if you want to pull it, you can, pretty much get it to go all the way around. So then you got another ball joint here, where at the base of the neck, where it basically joins into the shoulder area there. So again, just to add to that range of motion, you can see, you can look down like that. You can look up pretty decent ways when you look at it, so not too bad there. Of course, you can turn it side to side like that, and again, you can rotate it. If you force it, you could probably get it to go all the way around, but I'm not really going to mess with that here. But as you guys can see, you can still get a decent range of motion. Godzilla Junior, as opposed to Little Godzilla, definitely has a lot more points of articulation on him, so definitely something to note, folks. So here at the arms, where they join into the shoulders, again on a ball joint, you can do that T-pose. You go out like that. Of course, you can bring them in like that. These will rotate all the way around, as you guys can see, like that. And you can also turn them as well a little bit. Here, as you guys can see, a little rotation on them. So very cool. Then you've got, let's see, where's the next segment there? You guys can see a little sort of almost like a bicep cut there. So you can turn it that way. You can hinge in and out like that. And, again, rotation as well. So, again, rotation and hinge out and in like that. And, of course, you got the joint at the elbow, the single ball joint at the elbow here. Well, there's two different ones, so, but you got the one there. Again, you can hinge out, you can hinge in. Of course, you can rotate it as well, as you guys can see. So again, here, the other arm, hinge out and in with that ball joint and rotate it. So, very cool. And of course, let's see, then you've got another ball joint here, basically at the forearm area. So again, you can hinge and rotate as well. A little harder to do with this guy there. It's a small joint, but you guys could see though, you can turn it like that, hinge in and out like that. Okay, and then of course, as usual, you got the ball joint at the wrist on both hands. So again, you get the swivel hinge combo with that way around if you want. And then of course, get the hinge in and out. Again, on the other hand, rotate all the way around and the hinge. So, very, very cool. And then as you guys, I'm sure have seen here, you do have a ball joint here at the midsection, right beneath the chest. So you can look down like that. Again, you just got to mind the gappage they cause for certain spots of the figure when you move the joint. So you can look down and you can look up about that much. So pretty decent ways that he can look up. And of course you can rotate it and get a little bit of lean side to side as well. So very cool. And you actually get a secondary joint at the base of the abdomen area where it joins into the waist area. So again, just to add to the range of motion, you get a nice ab crunch right there, as you guys can see. And of course you can lean back like that. And again, you can lean side to side and of course rotate it. Limited rotation, I would say. I mean, you could probably force it to go all the way around, but it might pop out of place, as you guys kind of see here with mine. So, but alrighty. Nonetheless, so very cool. So, alright, sorry, I just took a quick pause to fix the joint up on that, but anyways, you can see the range of motion. Now here at the legs, the hips here, it joins into the waist, you got a ball joint there, so you can hinge them out, and come in that much, like that. Of course, you can rotate the legs You can push them, like you said, or like, again, I should say, to go all the way around if you wish. Just be mindful of it, moving it like that. Again, you can push it to go all the way around the rotation. But anyway, so you guys can see, so you do get a decent range there. It's pretty movable. You do have two separate ball joints here at the knees, so at the top part and the bottom part of the knees. So you get a decent range of motion. You can hinge in and out, of course, a bit of rotation. Oh yeah, and you can rotate these joints as well, of course. So, but anyways, yep. So hinge in and out, and a little rotation. Same thing at the bottom part of the kneecap there. Hinge in and out, and rotate a little bit there. So, again, as you guys can see on both sides there. Okay. And then you get another joint here on the halfway further down the leg here, so you guys can see. So above, obviously above where the ankle part is, at the lower part of the leg, so you get another ball joint there, so you can, again, hinge in and out. You can lean side to side with it, and of course you can rotate on that joint. You guys can see on both sides here. So it's at that bend on the bottom part of the leg is where that joint is. So again, hinge. Of course you can lean it side to side and get a little bit of rotation on it. It's just a little stiff, but that's okay though. And then, of course, at the ankles here, they join into the feet. You get another ball joint there. So you can hinge the feet down a little bit and hinge them upward. Actually, you get a nice range of motion up. So you can see the hinge forward and back on the foot there, like that. Okay, and then, of course, you can rotate them, go all the way around if you wish. Again, rotate them. All the way around. Okay. And of course you get a little bit of ankle rocker, a decent amount, as you guys can see, for the pivot there as well. So really nice amount, actually. So very cool, folks. And other than that, of course, the tail, which does have again, for a smaller figure, has a bunch of ball joints throughout, as you guys can see. So not as much as like the actual adult Godzilla, but you get a fair amount for what it is here. So you can straighten it all the way down like that. You can come up like that. It's a bit limited, but you can definitely do some different things with this tail here. So for what it is, not bad at all. Like I said, a smaller figure like this, not bad, not shabby at all. So anyway, folks, so that pretty much covers it for the articulation on Godzilla Junior for his accessories. So you do get these two helicopters. There's one there. And here's the other one. As you guys can see, so you get, like I said, you get two of them here. Take one off. And they both connect in on these black wires, and these black bases just mess with one just so you guys can see it. But, and got the little peg hole. Just plain black base, plain black base and plain black wire. And it just pegs right into place like that. As you guys can see, and you can bend the wire around so you can adjust where the helicopter is. But you guys can see the helicopter itself, like a silver, tiny little figure, but not bad detail. Where you can see all the detail captured for the helicopter. It's the same for both. At the black base part of the helicopter with the silver legs on it. You got a little blue, like a metallic blue for like the cockpit area, and translucent clear color there, so you can see inside ever so slightly. Not too bad. And you actually get two sets of rotors. So you get the spinning rotor here, as you guys can see. And hang on 1 second. Sorry, a little piece popped out of place. But anyway, so you got the spinning rotor, and there's a little slot there that it connects into. And you also get two stationary rotors, so if you wanted to have the helicopters, sitting on the ground, if you will, you do here just these plain black rotors, propellers, if you will. So very, very cool. Those down, but I prefer to have them, in air. That to me is just, looks more correct here anyways, that you would, have it displayed like that. So anyway, this little black knob does have a tendency to pop out of place, so just be mindful of it. But just pop it into place like that. Same for the spinning rotors there. As you can see, like the clear color and a little bit of black detail to give that appearance of it rotating. Propellers, and then got a little slot that goes into place too, and then you peg it into the base like so. It's a little tricky to get it to work right, but it will work. So very, very cool. And that's it for his accessories, but still not bad. It depicts that scene in the movie with the helicopters following Godzilla Junior. So, especially during the final battle scene. So, again, very cool for what it is, folks, in my opinion. Alright. So, anyways, that's it for the accessories. Now, as far as sizing goes here, so kind of showcase for you guys. So, alright. So, he kind of just naturally hunches forward, and that's the way he is in the film as well. But just to kind of showcase for you guys the size that you're looking at for Godzilla Junior here. Again, he is a smaller figure because it's somewhat meant to scale in with like your larger SH MonsterArts figures. Though not perfectly, but still you guys can see he stands right around 4 inches in height. And of course, you can always convert that to centimeters if you wish. And just as a size comparison here, put them against Little Godzilla, just so you guys can see how these guys scale in together. So Godzilla Junior is slightly taller than Little Godzilla, but it's not a very big difference. So, not really fully accurate, but for what it is, not too bad though, folks. Anyways, put him off to the side there. Other than that, as far as pricing goes on this guy, now that's the thing, like I was mentioning before, you just got to realize it is the aftermarket on this guy, and he has skyrocketed in price. I've seen it nowadays going for $150 and up, especially if you're going to get it in box with the accessories, etc., etc. So definitely keep that in mind. I believe the MSRP on this guy was around $40 or $50 when it was released back in, I think it was like 2012, 2013, something like that. So again, just keep that in mind, folks. But it is a really cool figure, and as a version, to have a figure, I should say, of Godzilla Junior in your collection, definitely a good way to go. But just keep in mind the price point of it that it's going for nowadays. But eBay and places like that would be your best place to look. Other than that, though, folks, that should be about it for this review. I would like to thank you guys so much for watching. If you would like to subscribe, please feel free to do so. If you would like to like and or comment on any of my videos, please feel free to do so as well. And just remember, until next time, ladies and gentlemen, you be good to yourselves, and sayonara.